Hello everybody, 'tis I, the Rumpled One. As you can see, the sun's already set. It's a Saturday, February the 9th, the year 2013. I've been watching a few videos today, reading some news on the internet. I watched that video of Dr. Ben Carlson talking to Obama at that breakfast. It was interesting. He was telling people how, he wasn't his intention to offend anybody. And then he went on to say what he had to say. He talked about political correctness, his solutions for taxes and health care. He told a few stories. He did everything just like they teach in public speaking. Give some personal stories, some parables. Did a good job. It was well received. In fact, some people want him to run for president. But I was thinking, what can I learn from that? Well, his style is a little bit different than mine. Mine is the hit them over the head with a blunt object till they get it. His is more like a surgeon with a scalpel. I might have to learn a thing or two from him, but then again, I don't know. This old dog might not be able to learn that new trick. But I was thinking about some things before I even watched that video. Because a friend of mine likes to say, there's a bunch of people out there who don't know that they don't know. And when you think about it, it's true. There's a lot of people who don't know they don't know. And there's a lot of people who think they know, but they don't know. And there's a lot of people who get elected to public office and positions of power who think they know, and they don't know, and who don't know they don't know. And that's where the trouble starts. And then I'm still reading that book, The Signal and the Noise, and I got to the chapter, still in the middle of it, about global warming. And he was saying how, once again, because of things like politics, it's hard to get to the truth of the matter because people have vested interest. And he talked about lobbyists and how, I guess there was some oil lobby spent $300 million. And that made me think, what do lobbyists do? I had a vague idea, but I thought, well, let me Google it and see what I can learn. And what's the point of lobbyists? Well, when you study things, sometimes you learn that they had good intentions, and then you learn how some of them have what they like to call unintended consequences, but then some of it is just how man, due to the nature of some mankind, pervert things. You see, a lobby can be used for good or it can be used for evil. But what happens is each player has their own agenda. The politician's agenda, for the most part, is to get reelected and stay elected. Think about that for a minute. Ponder that thought. Now, the lobbyists, they usually are backed by some group, sometimes large, sometimes small, but usually moneyed, and they want what they want. And then there might be some other lobby that wants the exact opposite. And that's where the problem starts. Once again, one group or individual wants to impose their will upon another group or individual. Now, they do it in various ways, but I was thinking, you see, these lobbyists, they get the ear of these congressmen and senators and maybe even the president himself. How do they do that? Well, campaign contributions, of course. I mean, $300 million? Okay, of course, to Congress, that's not even a penny, but still, it might matter to their campaign, their political fund, that they can use to spread propaganda and stay in office. And I was thinking, well, what's part of the problem? And part of the problem is that regular people like you and me, we don't have any access to our congressmen. Sure, they come by once every blue moon for a town hall meeting, and if you're lucky, they call on you. You get to ask one question, but there's no real back and forth. That you really don't have the opportunity to really tell them what you want and the reasons you want it and make a strong case for it. So I was thinking, here's what we could do. This is the solution part. What if, when you vote, or when you register to vote, there's a little checkbox that says, yes, I would like to talk to my elected officials, or no, I don't want to be bothered. And for everybody that checks yes, it'd be kind of like a lottery. And the congressman or senator or whatever elected official it is, for every minute that they give to a political action committee, they have to give to a member of We the People. So in other words, if they're going to meet for an hour with some political action committee, then if they happen to pick your name out of the hat, then they call you up and say, hey, we're going to make an appointment and you get to talk to elected official so-and-so for an hour about anything you want to talk to them about. Wouldn't that be cool? And I was thinking, yeah, that sounds good, but could there be possible abuse? I don't know. I guess maybe somebody could sell their soul and say, and they find out, oh, you're going to talk to them, hey, here's $100 or here's $1,000, this is what you need to tell them this. Maybe some people would do that. Maybe some people might say, you go shove that $1,000, you know, someplace where it's dark and warm, because I got some things I want to talk to my elected official about. Anyway, do I think that's going to happen? Yeah, I know you guys are thinking, see, TheRumpledOne, you're down there by the ocean, you're getting bombarded by those negative ions, and it's just making your mind just go wacky. You come up with all these solutions that you know there's not a snowball chance they're going to get implemented, even if they might work. It's just not part of the plan. But I want you to consider that. Just think about all those lobbyists. Hundreds of millions of dollars that is spent. I mean, there's just all this money that's just spent to keep these people in office. And then they take more money from us, we the people. It was interesting, though, because I was listening to Dr. Carlson's speech, and he said, you know, he turned to the Bible and said the Bible shows us the way where it's called tithing, that if you make $10 billion, then you tithe $1 billion. If you make $10, you tithe $1. And then somebody says, well, you know, it doesn't hurt the billionaire as much as the little guy, but he says, where in the Bible does it say that anybody has to be hurt? You just have to give your share, your tithe. You know, he also related a story about education, which is something that my parents drummed into me, where I was class president and I gave, you know, my little speech, and I said that, you know, you have to soak up knowledge as if you're drowning in a sea of ignorance. Oh, we got some people walking by here.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Anna, come here. Anna, close. I'm standing right here. It's like I'm thinking somebody wants to throw a ball.
Whoever had it for a long time because those were.
How are you? Fine, thanks. Good.
They weren't like little white.
Oh man, you're waiting for a sunset, huh?
The sun's already set.
Yes, sit.
Sit.
Hey,
Hey, sit.
we don't need it.
Well, especially because it's your left.
Okay, but I still got my whip.
Huh?
Hi, Annie.
Eric, can I grab your ball? Touch it up. I know it's kind of dirty.
Man, I didn't catch that part of the story.
Anyway, as I was saying, you have to seek out knowledge, drink up knowledge. Because there's so much ignorance around. It's part of that. You don't want to be one of those who doesn't know they don't know. It's kind of interesting. I also looked up the definition of rocket science. Because most people say, oh, it's not rocket science, but what are they really saying? And what do they really know about rocket science? I mean, the funny thing is rockets are pretty simple. You've got gravitation and you've got thrust. When thrust is greater than gravitation or gravity, it goes up. That's pretty simple. There's some other things involved, but that's usually more in targeting and navigation. Another thing that's in the book, The Signal and the Noise, they talked about complexity, because I know if you read anything that I've written or if you listen to my videos, I'll say simple. I like to use the word simple, but sometimes there can be so many simple things, variables, that the complexity is just mind-boggling because of the interactions between the simple things. Ponder that. Well, I guess this video is probably long enough. So hopefully you enjoyed the scenery. Let me know if you think my ideas are whacked or if they have some merit. I'm curious about if you have any ideas. But when it comes to our elected officials, my fellow Americans, wake up and smell the tyranny.